Hello students, welcome to the lesson 21 from the chapter 1 of the subject Advanced Structural Analysis. So in this lesson, let us solve problem number 4 of beams. So the approach here we are using is the stiffness transformation approach. So we have already seen 3 problems, now this is the 4th one. Okay, so we have to analyze this beam and draw the shear force and bending moment diagram. So if you observe how many members are there or how many spans are there in this particular beam, there are 3 spans. So far we have done problems only with 2 spans. So this is 3 spans, and one more additional or new thing in this problem is this shear vertical roller. So only vertical movement is allowed here, whereas your movement and horizontal force is restricted. Okay, so only free thing is your vertical movement up and down. So let's get started with the problem. What is your step 1? Step 1 is to find the degrees of freedom. So in this particular problem, there will be totally how many degrees of, so there will be how many degrees of freedom. See, this is a fixed end, so no degree of freedom. Here it is a hinge, so there will be a moment. Here at C also it's a hinge, so there will be a moment, and here there will be a vertical reaction. So totally there will be 3 degrees of freedom. What are those? Theta B, theta C, and a vertical reaction at D. So these are your 3 degrees of freedom. Right, next, what is the next step? You have to assign your global and local coordinates. So step 2 is assign global and local coordinates. So now in this what will happen? So first let us see the global coordinates. So how many global coordinates will be there? This will be equal to your degree of freedom. So in this case it is equal to 3. Right, and how many local coordinates will be there? Local coordinates will be 2 into number of members. Right, so this will be 2 into how many members are there here? Totally 3. So there will be 6 number of local coordinates and 3 number of global coordinates. So let us see what are those. So as it is, however your beam is, please take it in the same fashion. Right, here there is a shear hinge, vertical shear hinge it is called as. So here, see, there are no horizontal forces in the entire structure, so no need to take the horizontal reactions here. So this is how is the beam looking. Now this is your A, this is B, C and D. So what are your global coordinates which you have to put? So there is a clockwise rotation here, theta B. Take it as first global coordinate. Here also there is a clockwise rotation, theta C. Take it as second coordinate. And here let us take a vertical reaction, VD. This is your third degree of freedom or third global coordinate. So 3 global coordinates. So coming to the local coordinates, so there will be totally how many? 6 local coordinates. So if we have to draw it, so this is your number. So hinge here, here there is a hinge, here there is a vertical shear hinge. So how will you put your local coordinates? So I am taking all the local coordinates in clockwise direction. So like this, here also this and this, here also this and this. So every member will have 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So there will be a total 6 number of local coordinates. So let's take it as A, B, C and D. Okay. Now after your assigning of local coordinate and global coordinate is over, what is the next step? Yes, step 3 is to find your fixed end moments. Now in this problem, along with fixed end moments, you also need to find what? Normal reactions, because there is a vertical global coordinate here, so we need the normal reactions. Okay, so once we do the fixed end moments, I'll do it here. I'm just writing the next step. So once we do the fixed end moments, we just need to draw them and change the direction to get your EQJ else. Okay, so this is step 4. So let us do one by one the fixed end moments. So there are 3 parts. So take like this. So there are 3 parts of the beam. So this is your first part. Then coming to this is your second part or second member. Then lastly, this is your third part or third member. So what I am doing here, I am trying to find the fixed end moments. Now here it is a UDL of 18 kilonewton meter and the length is how much? 8 meters. Okay, so here also it is a UDL of 18 kilonewton meter and the length is how much here? 6 meters. Here it is an eccentric point load of 60 kilonewton. So here it is 2 meters and here it is 3 meters. The total length is 5 meters. Okay. So since all the loadings are from top, the fixed end moments will try to push them to their normal position. So all these are your fixed end moments directions. So this is what MAB, this is MBA, this is MBC, MCD, so MCD and MBC. Now along with this fixed end moments, what will you have? You will also have reactions. So let us even put the reactions. We'll take a different colored pen to have an easy identification. So there will be a reaction here. I'll call it RA. There will be a reaction here. Let's call this as RB1. So reaction here. All reactions I'm taking upward. So RB2, this is RB1. So here there is a reaction. This is RC1. Here this is RC2 and the last one is nothing but your RD. So let us calculate one by one all the values of your fixed end moments. So here, since it is symmetry, MAB will be equal to MBA. So what is the standard value? If there is a UDL, it is WL square by 12. So how much is this? W is 18 into 8 square by 12. So this will come up to 96 kilonewton meter. Along with that, I'll also calculate the reactions. So your RA will be equal to RB1 will be equal to total load by 2. Whenever it is symmetry, it is easiest way to calculate the reactions. Okay. So 18 into 8 will be your load, that divided by 2 will give you your reaction. So that will be 72 kilonewton. So this is for the first span AB. Now coming to the second span BC. Here also it is a UDL. So MBC will be equal to MCB will be again equal to WL square by 12. In this case W is again 18, L is 6 square by 12. So the value will come up to 54 kilonewton meter. Then a reaction also, what will happen? RB2 will be equal to RC1. This will be equal to total load by 2. So what will be your total load? 18 into 6 will be your total load. This divided by 2. So how much will you get? Get 54 kilonewton. Now the last one is for the part CD. Now here it is different because it is eccentric point load. So MCD will be what? WA B square by L square. So W is 60, A is 2. So this is your A, this is your B, this is your L. Okay. WAB square by L is 5 whole square. So how much will you get? 43.2 kilonewton meter. Then you do MDC. So what is the change? It is WA square B by L square. So this will be 60 into 2 square into 3 by 5 square. So how much will it come up to? It will come up to 28.8 kilonewton meter. Right, so these are your fixed end moments. Now to find reaction, because it is not symmetric, you cannot directly do total load by 2. What you have to do is, you have to do sum of vertical forces equal to 0, all upward forces positive. You have to use basic equations of equilibrium, basically. Okay, so what is this? RC2 plus RD will be equal to 60. Right, then we'll take sum of moment about C equal to 0, all clockwise forces will take as positive. So start, this is your negative. Okay, MCD. So MCD is how much? That's negative. So minus 43.2. Then RC2 is passing through C. That will not have any moment. Coming to 60, this will be clockwise. So plus 60 into 2. Then coming to RD, that will be anti-clockwise. So minus RD into 5. The last one is MDC as clockwise. So MDC is how much? 28.8. So always remember, moment you should not multiply it with the perpendicular distance. So this will give you the value of RD. Okay, so what will be your RD? It is equal to 21.12 kilonewton. So if you substitute this back here, you will get your RC2. So how much is RC2? 38.88 kilonewton. Okay. Okay. Now in order to get your EQJLs, just change the directions and put them. You will get your EQJLs. So I am writing all the EQJLs here. This is the first beam, this is the second part of the beam, and this is the third part of the beam. Okay, so naming, this is A, B, B, C and C, D. So let us change the color so that it will be easy to identify. So, right, now here this will be in this direction, here it will be in this direction, here in this. Basically you have to change the directions of your fixed end moments to get your EQJL. So write all the values. Here is how much? 96 kilonewton meter. Also 96 kilonewton meter. Coming to this, how much is that? 54 kilonewton meter. This is also 54 kilonewton meter. Coming here, this is 43.2 kilonewton meter. This is 28.8 kilonewton meter. So these are your end moments. Now reactions, see all your fixed end moment normal reactions were upward. So here they will be downwards. This is how much? 72 kilonewton. This is also 72 kilonewton. Here this is 54 kilonewton. So this is also 54 kilonewton. Here how much is RC2? That is 38.88 kilonewton. Here also it is downward, 21.12 kilonewton. See, all these are very important. Even if there is a small change in the sign which you are doing or small change in the direction which you are doing, it will cause the error in the entire problem. Okay, so you should be very careful when you are solving them. So this is your fourth step. Now moving ahead to the fifth step. So what's your fifth step? Finding your load matrices. So step is load matrices. So first will be PL. So what is the size of your PL matrix? It will be equal to the degree of freedom into 1. So it will be degree of freedom into 1. So that's 3 into 1 in this case. And you should consider global coordinate, and when you're doing this, you have to consider your EQJL and the external loads. So EQJLs and external loads. Okay, so what is it? So let's see. So we have to refer here. So this is the coordinate one. So in the coordinate one, what are EQJLs? First let us see. So at B, so there is two here. One is anti-clockwise, one is clockwise. So minus 96 plus 54. And check here in the main problem if there is any moment. No moment. So that's the only value. So what is it? Minus 96 plus 54. Coming to the second one. What is the second one? It is a moment at C. So here moment at C is minus 54 plus 43.2. Again at C there is no moment. Okay. So it's what? Minus 54 plus 43.2. Coming to the last one. So here there is a vertical reaction at D. So in the EQJL at D there is a downward reaction. This is also downward, this is also downward. So it will be plus. Coming to here external load, there is no external load. So what will the value be? It will be plus 21.12. So what will be your final values? It's minus 42, minus 10.8 and 21.12. So it's a 3 into 1 matrix. So along with this, what you have to find? You have to find your PE. So what will be the size of your PE? It is local into 1. So in this case, it will be 6 into 1. Now when you are doing this PE, you have to just consider only what? EQJLs, nothing else. Okay. So it will be how much? 6 into 6 matrix. So, sorry, 6 into 1 matrix. So these are the values which you have to write. So this is in the same direction. So it will be plus, this will be minus. Okay, this will be plus, minus, plus and minus. So what will happen? What will be the values? So plus, minus. Then again 54 minus 54. Then 43.2 and minus 28.8. Okay, so this is your PE value. So what is your next step? Step number 6. Step number 6 is what? Finding the element stiffness matrix. Okay, what is the element stiffness matrix? Standard value if you are doing transformation approach. So it's Kij is equal to Ei by L into 4, 2, 2, 4. Okay, so there are how many elements, how many members here? 3 members. So you will get 3 values. So K, A, B. So for AB it's 2 Ei by length is 8 into 4, 2, 2, 4. So this will be equal to Ei into 1, 0.5, 0.5 and 1. Then K, B, C will be what? 3 Ei into L is how much? 6. Again 4, 2, 2, 4. So this will be what? Ei into 2, 1, 1, 2. Then last one will be K, C, D. So this will be what? 2 Ei by length is how much? 5 into 4, 2, 2, 4. So this will come up to Ei into 1.6, 0.8, 0.8 and 1.6. Okay, so these are your element stiffness matrix. There are 3 elements, so 3 members. So 3 element stiffness matrix will come. So what is the next step? Next step is to step number 7 is what? Unassembled stiffness matrix. So what is your unassembled stiffness matrix? It's your small k. What you have to do in this? You have to write your element stiffness matrix in the diagonal way. So K, C, D like this, and put all other values as 0. Whatever values you will get here, these all will be 0. Okay. And randomly return it. So here this will be a 6 into 6 matrix. Okay, so how to write it? Want the final value will be a 6 into 6 matrix. So everywhere here is common. Let us take it out. So start writing. First will 0, 1 and 0 0.5, 0 0.5 and 1. Secondly 2, 1, 1, 2, and the third one is 1.6, 0 0.8, 0 0.8 and 1.6. All other values will be 0. So start from here 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So this is your unassembled stiffness matrix of order 6 into 6. Next what you have to do is find the displacement transformation matrix. So what is this? Step 8. This is your displacement transformation. Right. So what is displacement transformation matrix? Capital A. What will be the size of this? Local into global. So in this case it is the size of 6 into 3. So how will it appear? So basically what you have to do is, so here you are applying theta b equal to 1, then you will apply theta c equal to 1, then you will apply vd equal to 1. This vd you have to be very careful. So when you are applying b, the local coordinates at b will have values. So at b what do you have? 2 and 3. 2 and 3 will have values. When you are applying at c, 4 and 5 will have the value equal to 1. So here 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0. Here 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. So this is at 4 and 5. Okay. So 4 and 5. Now coming to VD, you should be very careful. So this is your original beam. Now this will move down. Okay. If it moves down, it will go like this. Right. So what is your displacement you're giving? You're giving a unit displacement of delta equal to 1 in this case. So this is delta 3. Now this is the original shape. Now to decide whether it is clockwise or to decide whether it is positive or negative, you have to go from this beam to your original beam. So how is this going? Anti-clockwise. So anti-clockwise means it should be negative. Okay. Then what you have to assume? So what is the length of this beam? 5 meters. So you have to assume tan theta is equal to opposite by adjacent, that is 0.2, and this is negative. So at C and D here, that's at coordinate 5 and 6, it should be minus 0.2, minus 0.2. So all other values will be what? 0. So this is a very important thing which you have to learn and remember. Okay. So this will come when you have a vertical global coordinate. So your step 6 of finding your displacement transformation matrix is over. Then moving ahead, we go for the, sorry, that's step 8. Now let us move for the step 9. So what will we do in the step 9? We'll find the global stiffness matrix. What is your global stiffness matrix? Capital K. This is nothing but A transpose small k into A. So we have to do this to multiplication first, then we have to do for AT. So let's do the substitution. So what is this? So this is a 3 into 6 matrix. Now K, small k, So this is a 6 into 6 matrix. You have to multiply this with your A matrix, which is a 6 into 3 matrix. So first you have to multiply these both. See, if you observe, this is 6, this is 6, so you can easily multiply. So you will get a 6 into 3 matrix. So after which you have to just multiply with this to get your final K matrix, not repeating this. So what we'll do is we'll just write a 6 into 3 matrix, which is your K into A matrix. Okay, so just say 6 into 3 matrix. So write the values 0.5. What you have to do for this, multiply this rows into these columns to get these values. Okay, so 0.500, 100, 210, 120, 1.6 minus 0.48, then 0.8, then minus 0.48. Again, A transpose with this, if you do, you will get your final K matrix. I am writing the final K matrix here. So your final K matrix is 3, 1, 0, 1, 3.6 minus 0.48, then 0 minus 0.48, final value is 0.192. So this is a 3 into 3 matrix. This should be multiplied by EI. Okay, so this is your step 9 of finding your global stiffness matrix. See, I am not doing your multiplication part because it's very easy and you already know how to do it. Okay, so once we do this, we have to do the step 10, wherein we have to find the displacement matrix, for which we need K inverse. So I am writing K inverse here. So also K inverse you can do, even if you want, you can do it in calci directly. Okay, so this is nothing but 1 by mod K into adjoint K. So what will be the value? 1 by EI into 0.3871 minus 0.1613 minus 0.4032, then minus 0.1613, 0.4838, 1.2096 minus 0.4032, 1.2096 is going to be 8.2325. So this is your K inverse if you try to find the adjoint K by mod K. So the next step is step number 10. So what is your step 10? Is finding your displacement matrix. So what's your displacement matrix? Nothing but delta. So what will be the value of delta? Delta will be your degree of freedom into 1. So it will be 3 into 1 in this case. What is the formula for delta? K inverse into PL. So this is your K inverse of the order 3 into 3. This should be multiplied by PL. So what's your PL value? So minus 42 minus 10.8, 21.12. It's minus 42 minus 10.8 and 21.12. So if you multiply this with this, say this is a 3 into 1 matrix. So if these are 3 and 3, you can easily multiply. So we'll get a 3 into 1 matrix. So 1 by EI, what will you get? You will get minus 23.03, 27.096 and 177.9. 4. So this is your anti-clockwise, that's nothing but theta B. This is your clockwise, that's nothing but your theta C. This is your vertically downward reaction VD. So this is what we got from your displacement matrix. So once we get your displacement, what is the next thing? You have to find the internal forces. So step 11 is to find the internal forces. So how will you do this? Capital P is equal to your K into A, already we know this, into delta. So if you do K into A into delta, you get your capital P. So K into A value right here 0.500100210 120 and 1.6 minus 0.48 0.8 minus 0.48 this into EI. This is your K value multiplied by your delta. So what's your delta which you have here? So minus 23.03, 27.096, 177.74. So this will get cancelled. This is a 6 into 3 matrix. So 3 into 1 matrix. So here it's 3 and 3. So you will get a 6 into 1 matrix. Okay. So what will be the final internal forces values? Minus 11.515, minus 23.06, minus 18.964, 31.162, minus 41.9616, minus 63.6384. This is your internal forces. Now there is step 12. Step 12 is to find your final forces. Step 12, final forces. So if you want PF, what you have to do? Internal forces minus your PE. If you do, you will get your final forces. So this is your P. Okay, instead of writing again, I'll do minus PE. Right. So what is your E values? Let's go back and check. See these are your PE values. Okay, so let's write down there. So this will be 96 minus 96, 54 minus 54, 43.2 and minus 28.8. So if you subtract this, you will get your final forces. So let's write down your final forces. So what are these? Minus 107.515, then 72.97, then minus 72.97, then 85.162, minus 85.162, and minus 34.83. So these are your final forces. So once we find our final forces, now next step is to calculate your bending moment diagram. Okay. So step 13 is your BMD. So let's draw the final end moments which we have got. See here, this is negative. Okay, so that will be your anti-clockwise direction. This is positive clockwise direction. This is negative anti-clockwise, anti-clockwise, and this is also anti-clockwise. Now what are all these values? See, this is the end moment at MAB here, moment at MAB. At B, you should get same, MBA should be equal to MBC. See, if you observe, this is also 72.97, this is also 72.97, the decimal may vary, okay. But if you observe, they will be of equal and opposite sign, okay, in order to compensate the moment there at the point B. Similar to that at C also, if you see equal and opposite, and coming to D, there is a negative moment of 34.83 km. Okay, so now let us plot this in your beam. to draw your bending moment diagram. Now there is a little change in the way you draw bending moment diagram here, particularly for the span CD. For AB and BC you have to use principle of superposition and do it, but for CD you have to do it the first principle. Why is that so? I'll tell you when we finish the drawing. Okay, so here we have a anti-clockwise moment of 107.515. Here it is clockwise, here it is anti-clockwise, how much? 72.97. Here clock, anti-clock, so 85.162. And here what we have an anti-clockwise movement of 54.83. Okay, this portion, first let us draw the bending moment coming from these fixed end moments. Then we will draw bending moments which are coming from the loading. Okay, now how will it look? We'll draw a line. So this is your portion A, B, C and D. Here it is lifting the beam up. So you should go up by 107.515. Here both ways it is lifting the beam up. So how much is that? So it will be 72.97 kilonewton meter. So this is also your kilonewton meter. Right. Coming to this point, 85.162. Okay. So 85.162 somewhere here. 85.162. Now for this the value is, this is pushing the beam downwards. Okay, so we'll go downwards by how much amount? 34.83 kilonewton meter. Okay, now let's connect this. Okay, then from here to here, again linear. Now normally if you do, what you'll do, you'll connect from here to here linear. Okay, but here in this problem it is little different. Okay, let's do this on a later stage. I'll explain you why to do it like that. Now we cannot use superposition principle here, so I will be stopping this portion of drawing the bending moment. We can do it only after we find our reactions. Okay, so let's do this, only this portion on the later stage. Here what will happen, the principle of superposition along with the fixed end moments you have to also do for the loading. Okay, so for that loading what will be the value? Here it will be WL square by 8. So what will the value be? W is 18, L is 8 square by 8. So this will be equal to how much? 144 kilonewton meter. Then coming here, WL square by 8, what will be the value? W is again 18, L is 6 square by 8. So this will come up to 81 kilonewton meter. Right. Now here again we cannot draw. We should not be drawing because of the loading also. So this portion I am keeping pending. Let's do it on a later stage. Okay. You have to remember that whenever there is a vertical shear coming like this, at that vertical shear portion you cannot do the bending moment diagram using your superimposition method. You have to do it by your basic principle. Now to doing it with the help of basic principle, we need the reaction. So once we do the shear force, I'll tell you how to do that. Okay. So now this is how much? 144 kilonewton meter, and this is 81 kilonewton meter. Now loading will sag the beam, hence it is positive bending moment. This is a positive bending moment portion. Then this one, if you observe, they are hogging the beam. The fixed end moments are hogging the beam, so they will be under negative bending moment portions. Okay, so this is an overlap or imposition portion. So how will your values be? This will be negative, this will be positive. Here this will be negative, positive, negative. This portion we'll do it on a later stage. Now after doing the bending moment diagram, what we have to do? We have to do the shear force diagram, and for doing shear force diagram we need the reactions, right? So for finding reactions, make sure that along with this fixed end moments you have to find your reactions. Okay, so let us do it here only. For this, what I'll do is I'll just draw my loads and write the length. So this is how much? 18 kilonewton meter. This will also be how much? 18 kilonewton meter, and here there is a point load of 60 kilonewton. This span is 8 meters, 6 meters, this is 2 meter and 3 meters. Okay, now reactions. So I'll put the reactions in a different colored pen. So this is your RA, Here it will be what? This will be your RB1. Here it will be what? RB2 coming here. So this is what? RC1 and this is your RC2 and finally here this is your RD. Okay, now actually this is free to move vertically up and down, so your RD will automatically come 0. Anyways, we'll calculate, even then we'll get here the 0 value. Okay, so let's start one by one. Now first for the span AB. For span AB, what I'll do, summation V equal to 0, all upward forces positive. Right, in that case what will happen? RA plus RB1 will be equal to 18 into 8. So this will be 144. Then we'll do sum of moment about A, all clockwise forces positive, equal to 0. So what will happen to this? So start from here, this is anti-clockwise, so minus 107.515, then plus, see this 18 UDL will give clockwise moment here. So 18 into 8 is the intensity, into 8 by 2 is where it will be acting. Then coming to this end moment, that's clockwise, so plus 72.97 and minus RB1 into 8 because this is anti-clockwise. Okay, so this will give me the value of RB1. How much will it be? 67.67 kilo Newton. So substitute this back here, you will get your RA. How much will it be? 76.32 kilo Newton. Similarly do for BC. Okay, so first is summation V equal to 0, all upward forces positive. So what will happen here? RB2 plus RC1 will be equal to 18 into 6. So it will be 108. Then sum of moment about B equal to 0, clockwise forces positive. So this is anti-clockwise, this is clockwise. So minus 72.97 plus 18 into 6 by 2 is for the UDL. Then plus 85.162 is the moment at C. Then minus RC1 into 6 equal to 0. So your RC1 will be equal to 56.032 kilonewton. Substitute this back here, you will get your RB2. How much is this? 51.568 kilonewton. Right, now for the last span CD. Okay, so summation V equal to 0, all upward forces positive. So what will it be? RC2 plus RD equal to 0. See, this I just told you based on the consideration that this is a vertical roller, so vertical movement is allowed, so there will be no reactions there. Okay, so we can also even find from here. Okay, so this is equal to 60. Right, then sum of moment about C equal to 0, all clockwise forces positive. So let's start doing from here. This is anti-clockwise, so minus 85.162 plus 60 into 2. This is again anti-clockwise. Okay, so minus 34.83. This is RD also is anti-clockwise. So minus RD into 5 equal to 0. So when you calculate this, your RD value will be equal to 0 kilonewton. Substitute it back here. So your RC2 will be 60 kilonewton will be the value. Okay, so let us write here. So this is how much. I'll use a different colored pen because your moments are also in black. So what we'll do is reactions, will write it in blue. Right, so this will be how much? 60 kilonewton. So RC1 is how much? 56.032 kilonewton. RB2 is how much? Is 51.968 kilonewton. RB1 67.67 kilonewton, and your RA 76.32 kilonewton. Now we'll draw the shear force diagram first. So observe here, this is your length of the beam, this is A, B, C and D. Okay, figure is not to the scale. This is your D. So this is a point where you have a point load. Okay, so here it is what? Left up positive. So positive 76.32 kilonewton. Then left up, right up is negative. So this should go down by how much? 67.67 kilonewton. Now there is a UDL here. So your shear force will be linear like this. So this will be a positive value and this will be a negative value. Then come to BC span. Again left up positive. How much? 51. So 51.968. Again right up RC1 negative 56.032. So again there is a UDL here. So it will be linear. This will be negative and this will be positive. Now coming to this portion, be very careful. So your RC2 is how much? 60. Left up positive. So go positive by 60 kilonewton. Now here right side this is 0. So leave it as it is. Now whenever there is a point load, I told you that should go by that much amount. Now between between C and this load, there is no loading. So what will happen? Your shear force should be constant. So from here to here it is constant. Then it should go down by this amount of the load. So how much is this? 60. So obviously from here to here this will be 60 kilonewton. So in this portion there will be no shear force because RD is automatically 0. So this portion of the beam there will be no shear force. Okay. So this portion is very important. If you do this by first principle, you will come to know. Okay. Now, based on this reaction what you have obtained, you try to calculate your bending moment here. Okay. Now, you observe. We'll start from here one by one. I'll do it by first principle. You see bending moment at D, then bending moment at, I'll call this point as E for easier purpose, that is under the load. Okay, so at E, then bending moment at C. Now you check one by one. Bending moment at D will be what? Whatever is the moment here. So this is what? Anti-clockwise. So it will be minus 34.83 kilonewton per meter. Now come to E and see on the right side. So there is one moment which is minus 34.83 and your RD is anyway 0. So nothing extra is there. So at E also what will happen? The moment is minus 34.83 kilonewton meter. Then come to your point C. At point C what I'll do? Check on the right side. So this is minus 34.83 and then come to this loading is also there which will cause the moment at C. So this is clockwise. So what will happen? Plus 60 into 2. Okay. So how much will that value be for you? So it's 120 minus 34.83. So this will be equal to 85.17 kilonewton meter. You observe this is already 85.17. Okay. So why we are doing is this is to just see the connection. Okay. If we go by principle of superposition, what will happen? I'll just show you roughly. I'll just show you in a different color pen. Suppose we are going by principle of superposition. We used to connect this with a linear line, right? And then what we used to do? We used to calculate it for this point load. So for point load, what is it? W A B by L. L is nothing but 5. So how much will this come up to? So it used to come 72 kilonewton meter, and since it's a point load, it would come like this, right? So this we would have put 72.72 kilonewton meter, but this will be wrong. This we cannot do like this. This is not the value we are getting here. If you observe here, you are not getting those values according to first principle. So you have to do it by first principle. Doing by this method, you will get wrong answers. Okay, only for the portion where you have a shear hinge like this. Okay, shear vertical hinge like this. Okay, So let's remove that and put our final correct diagram. This is just for your reference I showed. Now how will the final correct diagram be? I put it in red because this is important. See here at D it is how much? Minus 34.83. So I put it in the same way. So below this load, here is your loading. So at loading at this point also, what is the moment? Minus 34.83 only, right? So from here to here it is constant. So wherever you take the moment, here will be 34.83 because there is no other reaction. So this will be negative value, right? Now after this you come to see you have this. So from here to here, how will you do the connection? From 85.162 you have to connect to minus 34. So if you do, how will you get? You get a linear line like this. Okay, so this is very important portion what you have to remember. Right now in this case, which will be positive, this portion will be positive, this entire portion will be negative. So this is how your bending moment, diagram will look. Okay, so this is a very important point. So between your span CD, you cannot use your principle of superposition. You have to use what? Basic principle. Whenever you have difficulty in plotting the diagrams by principle of superposition, you can always go by basic. Try to calculate all the reaction and do by basic first principle and draw the bending moment diagram. Okay.